The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games are missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Right now, this is a first year on True School Sports. We're in the Ferris wheel right now. We're in downtown Miami. That's Bayside. I don't know if God can see over there, but that's the American Airlines Arena. So we're here, man. A first, an aerial view of Miami while we're talking to you guys about some boxing. True School Sports on the Ferris wheel, having a great old time. I wanted to spitball and kind of talk about Eddie Hearn and something that I believe about Eddie Hearn. For those of you who have really been watching me for a long time on a video by video basis, oh my God, look at that view, look how far up we are. Y'all know that I was once big on Eddie Hearn. We used to even say thank you, Eddie Hearn, as a retort to thank you, Al Heyman, here on True School Sports. But that has since subsided ever since he came to America, because I've been seeing him constantly let down fighter after fighter after fighter. And I feel like now more than ever, that's more prevalent than ever, Eddie Hearn letting these fighters down. We'll start with just who he's actually been an asset to consistently. Number one, he's been the biggest asset to Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua has been his number one priority. Him, Bellew, now that he's at the game. Now it's really just Joshua. He's always done right by Joshua, and he's done great by Joshua from taking him from the gold medal all the way to become a heavyweight champion. But then when you look at what he's done in America, right? And this is why I really got more familiar with him, because when he was in the UK and looking at him from afar, I couldn't quite understand why the British fans didn't like him as much. But now with Eddie Hearn, first he made all these promises to sign all these American fighters, top American fighters. It didn't come off. It didn't happen. And then it's the guys he did sign, we'll take Demetrius Andrade for a second, right? Now we know nobody wants to fight Demetrius Andrade, but that's his job as a promoter. His job is to literally do right by Demetrius Andrade. He's trying to make, he has to make deals that nobody thinks he can make. That's literally what he's paid to do. He's paid to broker the deals. He's paid to broker the fights that Demetrius Andrade, how do you want to pronounce his last name? He needs to do that. And he hasn't done it. And not only has he not done it, but he's got him in a completely irrelevant 168-pound title fight against Dusty Harrison, a 10-rounder, I believe it is too. And it's a crying shame what's going to happen into his career. I thought that when he signed with Eddie Hearn, this was going to be a game changer in his career. This was going to be, something monumental to move his career forward, and it's been just a continuation of what's already been happening for Demetrius Andrade. The only positive has been is that he got to box in his front of his hometown crowd in Rhode Island, and they sold a bunch of tickets. But other than that, it's been a colossal disaster. So that's one instance, right? So you look at him. You look at, look at Devin Haney. Look at Devin Haney. I mean, yeah, he's WBC champion, but Devin Haney hasn't gotten any fights that can actually put him on the level of his lightweight American counterparts, like Teofimo Lopez, like Gervonta Davis. He hasn't gotten those box office fights yet. So even Devin Haney has been a letdown, and it's gotten so bad that he's putting on fights that I don't even think should be sanctioned, like the one against Gamboa. So you have that. Then you have, on the British side of things, you have Kell Brook, a guy that has done right by Eddie Hearn, Kell Brook's done right by Eddie Hearn. He took the Golovkin fight when he really shouldn't have for the money. And he's never backed down from a challenge. When it came time to fight Errol Spence and vacate that title and scale back down to 147, he did that with no problems. Kell Brook did that. He scaled back down to 147. Sky Sports was telling Eddie Hearn and Kell Brook, you were obligated to fight. He honored his obligation. He honored Sky Sports. And what does Eddie Hearn do years later? He becomes a snake. He becomes a straight snake and doesn't even get the fight on Sky Sports. It doesn't go to bat for him. So it's a bad look all the way around the board. And I got some serious questions as to if Eddie Hearn could really consistently deliver at that top level for his fighters, because it hasn't been it here in America. I like Eddie Hearn. I've met him. I love his passion. I love his enthusiasm for boxing. There's no questioning his enthusiasm for boxing. But I just think, whether I want to admit it or not, and I am admitting it now, I think coming to the American market might be slightly a bit out of his depth. Because if you look at what, DAZN's been around for 2 years. He's been part of DAZN for 2 years. The only fighters he's done right by on DAZN aren't even from America, to be honest with you. You know, like, I think he's done right by the women's fighters. He's got women's boxing on lock. They've been putting on great fights with Natasha Jonas and Terry Harper and Rachel Ball and all Shannon Courtney, all of them goes, Katie Taylor. Done a hell of a job with that. You can't take that from him. He's done a hell of a job for my favorite fighter of all time, Cholatito Gonzalez. So I thank him for that. You know, and Gallo Estrada. Hopefully they can make that fight happen because the flyweight that's the fight at 115. But overall, his most marquee names, some of his most marquee names, I really feel like he's not doing right by them, and you know, it's unfortunate what's going on with Eddie Hearn because I really want to see him succeed. I do like him. You know, I do think from what I've read, he's a bit naive with his negotiating tactics because he's one of these guys that just likes to just give the money up front to whatever to make the fight happen, and it's honorable. But when it comes to negotiations, you know, it's not a good tactic to show your hand all the time. And I feel like I'm not there, obviously, but just based on what I read, and you can't believe what you read, but based on what I read and read, and based on what he pays some of these fighters, you know, it just seems like that's what it is. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I just wanted to talk about Eddie Hearn because I really feel like he's done some good things here in America, but I feel like with a lot of fighters that I had expectations for him to do right by, he really has been doing it. Most notably, Demetrius Andrade, because I was thinking about his fight recently, and he's one of the most skilled fighters in the world. You know, world champion, one of the top American fighters out there, and this guy's fighting Dusty Harrison in a 10-round non-title fight. And, you know, it looks like they're positioning him to go to 168, which I hate because nobody wanted to fight him at 54. Nobody wants to fight him at 60. So he's going to fight somebody bigger at 68, and he's going to position himself to lose to a bigger man, and then people are just going to say he was a hype job, he was nothing. And it's just been a big disappointment for me as a boxing fan to see what's happened to his career and how Eddie Hearn's treated Kell Brook. And I'm not to say that he hasn't done some things good, because he has done some things good here in America, but in my opinion, he just left a lot to be desired. But I'm gonna leave it at that. You guys make of it what you will. I'm gonna enjoy the rest of my view here in Miami on the Ferris wheel. But like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.